WTF Ross says, should we remix you? Yes! Now you can. I could use all the help I get. Back then, you were cloud chasers chasing me trying to get rich. Now I need your help because nobody gives a shit about me no more. Yes, buy food and guns. Don't give me $5. Take your stimulus money and spend it on goods and guns. Get food and guns, get food and guns, buy food and guns. Get food and guns, get food and guns, buy food and guns. The president told us to put bleach in our veins. Get food and guns, get food and guns, buy food and guns. I'm gonna feel like I got the virus because your stupid donations. You should have kept your money and used it on something important, something important. Don't give it away to some fat internet streamer. Use your money to stay alive right now. The world's fucking crumbling. Thank you for the money. I promise you I will use it to buy food and fucking guns. Xbox has super chatted. Said Xbox Series X got better exclusives to PS5. I don't know. Maybe. I gotta tell you what, I'm rooting for Xboxes. But it's a better option than a PlayStation, which is a $500 brick. $500 brick. PlayStation 5 is a $500 brick. $500 brick. $500 brick. PlayStation $500 you wasted. PlayStation 5 is an overheating, melting plastic piece of shit. PlayStation 5 forgot to make exclusives. I don't want a PlayStation 5. I want an Xbox. PlayStation 5 is overheating mess. COVID-19. 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 So I stay home. And I don't want to die. I don't want to travel. Why does Boogie want to do that? Stay home. Stay home. I want to go back to work. We all do. I want to go back to the beach. We all do. Social distance, because the last thing I want to do is be around you. Where's my mouth to do? Where's my mouth to do? Did you drink it? Let me smell your breath, bitch. Did you drink it? Let me smell your breath, bitch. Did you drink it? Did you drink it? Did you drink it? Let me smell your breath.
I'll admit it. I'm not letting my kids die. I'm somebody that thought I could fix this, and I'm starting to think about having to eat my neighbor. I'm gonna haul him up by a chain. I will eat your ass. I'll do it. You think I like sizing up my neighbor? Cut him, skin him, chop his ass up. My children aren't going hungry. I will eat your ass. Eat your ass. I'm literally looking at my neighbors now and going, I will eat your ass. I will eat your ass. Eat your ass. My superpower is being honest, and I will eat your ass. I will eat your ass. Eat your ass. That's why I want the globalists to know. I will eat your ass. I will eat your ass. Eat your ass. I've extrapolated this out, and I will eat your ass.
Morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. For Spike Juicy Cohen, I am Matt Wright, and together we are traversing the muddied waters of freedom.
Hey, everybody. I still like Jew Rule the best so far.
Not Nozzletov is my favorite, but you're in my phone as LL Cool Jew.
I mean, that's a classic throwback, but the... Yeah, Nozzletov, I like that one. It's a little... I like... Juicy's all right. Hey, everybody. How are you doing? Hey, well, Matt, how's your week?
Juwante. Right, so I did, Juwante and Juicy.
Juicy, yeah. I like that better. Or we could go with... I don't even know what their kids... Jew Ivy.
Jew Ivy. Jew Ivy.
Jew Ivy Cohen. Hey, everybody, how are you doing? And hey, Matt, how are you doing?
I am hot. I am sweaty, but you know what? I am here for the people.
I am also hot and sweaty for the people. You know what's got me extra hot and sweaty for the people? You may or may not have noticed, Matt and the people, but I got a haircut, finally.
Yes, you did.
And it is not terrible. It is a good, serviceable haircut. Really, the biggest problem here is I just styled it poorly. But the hair itself is amazing. So I want to give a shout out to my wife, who cut hair for the first time today. This hair right here. Very happy about it. It is definitely I now can campaign for VP without looking like something is terribly wrong in my life.
She did a wonderful job.
Thank you. I will tell her that.
Spike's wife did a wonderful, wonderful job.
Shout out Spike's wife, and as always. So first and foremost,
allow me to thank Benjamin Daniel Morris Chestnut the seventh for the Kava that I am drinking on today's episode.
And allow me to thank the Blue, Denzel Washington, Michael Jai White, the Blue water, for this ultra pure drinking water that I'm drinking on this episode, Bulavanaka. That is delicious water. And as always, I'd like to point out this is like the old school. Some of you kids don't know what these bottles are like. This is what all water bottles used to be like, thick. And like, even if it wasn't filled with water, you could smash someone over the head, rendering them unconscious. Unlike this new, cellophane, SJW bottles that everyone's using now.
Yeah, that are as thick as this.
If that's not even, yeah. I mean, it's like cellophane. This is what you use when you want to club a sea turtle on its way to live what could have been a 400-year life, and instead you just... This episode is brought to you by the Libertarian Party Dad Bod Calendar, featuring some of the most sexy libertarian men, all of them right there, being me, that you can get. It ships for only $12, including shipping. It has me and 11 other incredibly sexy libertarian men. If you want to engage in social distancing, there's no better way to do it than to have sexy libertarian men hanging from everything you own. So for only $12, including shipping, libertariandadbod.com. This episode is also brought to you by the Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus, Matt, the fastest growing Waffle House Caucus. I just sent out some more buttons, Waffle House buttons, earlier today. Be sure to get your Waffle House buttons by inboxing us today to find out how to do that. And this episode, of course, is brought to you by Murder Hornets. Murder Hornets they're going to kill all of us. That's what the Murder Hornets are actually going to kill all of us. And this episode is brought to you again by the Libertarian Coronavention, happening May the 22nd and 23rd on Zoom. On Zoom. It's actually not the convention. That's just when they're going to nominate Vermin Supreme and me to be the next president and vice president of the United States. But also, this episode is brought to you by Henry McMaster. Still a bitch. Still a bitch, Henry McMaster.
Do you have birds there, or is that me? Okay.
No, yeah. There's birds outside. I live in the forest, so the forest creatures come and sing little songs to me while I
kept hearing it, and I was like, "Where is that coming from?"
Yeah, no, it's probably here. We have the birds. The birds are giving me their evening song that they give. It's very soothing. So, thank you all for tuning in. And go ahead.
It is so hot in here. It is 90 degrees in this house right now. Are
you okay?
I'm fine, but it's like I'm like looking at myself, and this shirt is now just sticking, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a fun episode.
No, it looks fun. It looks like you're having fun. So Patrick S. Back asks, well, first Seth Thomas Benton asks, is this gonna get a copyright notice as well? I don't think so.
Spike picked it, so probably.
So, and Patrick S. Back asks, are there drugs involved with your pregame ritual? No, we are both many years sober between the two of us. So, yes. Good question. Speaking of someone who may or may not Trisha Butler says, my sister Janelle Helms wants to know how many people are fake sponsoring this episode. It's not fake, Trisha. This is real.
We definitely have one real sponsor with Chris Reynolds.
Oh, God. We didn't even talk about the actual paid sponsor.
Yeah.
Where's... Okay.
Chris Reynolds Law.
Brought to you by Chris Reynolds. Personal injury attorney at law, Chris Reynolds. ChrisReynoldsLaw.com. If you are in the Tampa Bay area and, for example, are going to a coronavention and find yourself personally injured in any real substantive and monetarily financeable way, be sure to get in contact.
For all the libertarians who show up to Orlando for the actual convention in July, I think, if you happen to have a slip and fall at the hotel, call Chris Reynolds.
Chris Reynolds, personal injury attorney at law. ChrisReynoldsLaw.com. But Janelle and Trisha, you need to know the Murder Hornets has paid us an absurd amount of money for their sponsorship.
And the promise not to murder us.
Well, that was part of it, yeah. I mean, you would be shocked at their negotiating skills. It largely revolves around not murdering us. But speaking of not murdering us, we have some great news for you folks. Donald Trump, the president of these United States, is warning us about one of the greatest political crimes in American history. He tweeted Obamagate, ! And that apparently means something, but he did tell us more. So this is some breaking news here.
Mr. President, in one of your Mother's Day tweets, you appear to accuse President Obama of the biggest political crime in American history by far. Those were your words. What crime exactly are you accusing President Obama of committing, and do you believe the Justice Department should prosecute him?
Obamagate. It's been going on for a long time. It's been going on from before I even got elected. And it's a disgrace that it happened. And if you look at what's gone on, and if you look at now all of this information that's being released, and from what I understand, that's only the beginning. Some terrible things happened, and it should never be allowed to happen in our country again. And you'll be seeing what's going on over the coming weeks. I wish you'd write honestly about it, but unfortunately, you choose not to do so. Yeah, John, please.
Crime. What is the crime exactly that you're accusing him of?
You know what the crime is. The crime is very obvious to everybody. All you have to do is read the newspapers, except yours. John, please.
So
I absolutely love every response he gave here. Every single one of them, I'm just like,
you know what it is.
I expect nothing less nothing more. This is just hard.
This was peak Donald Trump.
Peak.
This was what people elected and why they elected him. Because only Donald Trump. First of all, can we just talk about real quick? He's got everyone having. I wish I could pause that. He makes everyone get up and bend down to a mic, which for some reason is down here. For the 3 foot tall reporter. So everyone is having.
I was going to say the one reporter in a wheelchair.
Or something, because God knows you couldn't just knock it down for them. Everyone has to essentially prostrate themselves before Donald Trump with their mask on, so they don't have to look at your face. And then, Mr. President Trump, what the hell are you talking about? But they have to do it like this and kind of look up and do the Japanese bow talking. It's very interesting dynamic there.
That's why he did it, so they'd have to show a sign of respect every single time.
Every day the microphone goes down 1 centimeter. It's just over time. By the end of his, if he gets the second term, by the end of the second term, people are going to have to lie on the floor. President Trump, my face is touching the grass. I just have one question for you. And he'll be like, you know what I'm talking about. No one wants to hear what you have to say. Next question. And then he has to get up, and the next person has to grovel on the ground. So good news there. It appears that it's a slow news day because Donald Trump had to fill it with that.
Yeah. And I mean,
so good news there.
Good news there. Yeah. And I mean, as far as Obamagate, if you can name a president that a former president that's ever been prosecuted,
Well, especially, I mean, to be fair, he has a lot of evidence that Obama has done something, a great crime he has done.
He's done that Obamagate.
So we will be covering that in the weeks to come, as that is certain to be an actual thing that we can talk about. Speaking of actual things that have been unfolding slowly and painfully, Tara Reade, Matt.
Tara Reade.
She had a situation.
She did. She had a bit of a situation. She obviously is the woman who is accusing Joe Biden of sexual assault. She says that she was supporting Elizabeth Warren during the primary, but she was a little hurt when Warren came out in support of Biden, completely dismissing Reade and her accusations.
And now this is not the first person who has dismissed Reade. Even Kirsten. Is it Kristen or Kirsten? It's Kristen, right?
Kristen. Yes, Kristen Gillibrand.
Because she looks like a Kirsten. So Kristen...
She does. She has a very Kirsten-y look.
She looks very Kirsten-y.
Yeah.
But not Kirsty, like Kirstie Alley. Like Kirsten. Anyway, Kristen
Maybe
Gillibrand...
Kirsten.
Oh, or a Kirsten. Yeah, she looks like a Kirsten. She is a famous senator of New York, junior senator of New York. Her father was the lawyer for Nexium. Now you say that? Nexium, which was a rape cult. She said Vice President Biden has vehemently denied these allegations, and I support Vice President Biden. # believe all women prior to this year.
Believe all women but Tara Reade.
Yeah, believe everyone but Tara Reade, who's a woman. Except for Tara.
Her father, when he left Nexium close to 15 years ago, 2006, he was paid $100,000 by Nexium to leave.
Wow.
Some of this money actually went to Gillibrand. So this entire story is mainly to say that Kirsten Gillibrand has supported the abuse of women for at least 14 years.
Or been supported by it, too.
Or been supported by it.
Supported it, and it supported her, making her even more Kirsten-y. I don't know why we're beating up on Kirstens. Anyway, speaking of Joe Biden...
I don't either. I wrote that yesterday, and I was just kind of like, why am I hitting Gillibrand right now? Whatever.
No, we're gonna hit Kirsten. She earned it. She deserves it, and it's what needs to happen. But so speaking of Joe Biden, he's also garnered a lot of support from the top tier Democrats. But shockingly, Matt, Bill Clinton has yet to go public in support of Joe Biden.
That's weird. You would have thought that he would have done that basically as soon as he got the as soon as he became the nominee, the presumptive nominee.
There's no reason he wouldn't.
Right.
There's no reason he wouldn't. Breaking news, Matt. We have gotten a hold of audio of Bill Clinton doing just that. Just came in off our presses here. Off the wire press. The press wire that we have here on this. We just got this right here. We are told that this is audio of Bill Clinton endorsing Joe Biden, and we're being told that we'll be able to figure out why it wasn't released. This is a leak, by the way.
Hey there, Joe. It's your old buddy Bill here. I just wanted to send out my quick congratulations on being the presumptive Democratic nominee for president this year. And first I want to say thank you for not running back in 2016 because, well, I don't know what Hillary would have asked me to do to you. So I'm glad you didn't force me into that situation. Also, just wanted to say that I really do like your style of dealing with the ladies, the whole sniffing thing and the rest of it that you do with the fingers and all that. That shows some real class, and truly respect it. Good stuff. You got some good stuff going there. It'll be real good to get a Democratic hound into office again. We got a Republican hound in there now, and just be better to get a Democratic one in there, if you know what I mean. You're going to have all my support, brother, and if you need anything, you just let me know, because I got you. Good luck in the race, and, just keep on doing what you're doing.
I thought we were going to have Sierra do this kind of stuff.
That wasn't you or me. That was Bill Clinton.
That's true.
That was Bill Clinton.
Hashtag keep banging.
Hashtag keep banging.
Keep banging.
So yeah, they might want to tweak that a little bit.
You definitely need to remessage that slightly.
That was not a good endorsement.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Clintons, Hillary Clinton has seen some interesting movement in her chances of becoming the Democratic nominee instead of Biden in November, Matt.
Yeah, due to the recent allegations against Biden and the gaffes that he has been so famous of committing during his online campaign, Hillary has jumped to 8-1 to win the Democratic nomination, and she's not even running. 8-1. A jump of this size, obviously, means that the DNC has no faith in Biden, and should something tragic befall on him, or if he were to commit suicide brought on by his dementia, they would have somebody waiting in the wings.
I love that.
Where did you?
I put Hillary GIF, and that came up first. So because I thought it would be the wow one, like the. But then that came up, and I'm like, okay, that's perfect. So here's the thing. Imagine being a Democrat operative, and you're thinking, we got to get rid of Joe Biden. He's going to destroy everything. He's everything that, we say bad about Trump. He also is, and we have to replace him with someone who has a shot of beating him. You know who we need to replace him with? The one he already beat when he was not an incumbent, and people weren't already comfortable with him acting the way he does every day. That
is the person that we need to get in here right now.
The one that the activists hate the most is who we need to go with. And that's what the
Democrats seem to be thinking on this one. And no, I'm not saying that. Okay, I will say this. I would still, if I were to place a bet, which I wouldn't, if I were to place a bet, Joe Biden would be the nominee. But it wouldn't be a big one.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think they're going to get rid of him. I don't think they're
going to get rid of him, but I wouldn't bet against it either.
I mean, when you consider the fact he has not been nominated yet, every opportunity has been given for them to say, you know what? This is too much. We need to go with someone else. And they are plowing ahead. And I've seen many tweets from people saying, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat. Biden is going to lose. I'll even vote for him, but Biden's going to lose. This is our chance to get rid of him, to replace him with someone else. Not Hillary Clinton, but someone else. Someone else who isn't an accused rapist, who is mentally deteriorating by the week. With 6 months to go.
Let's get the wife of an accused rapist who's mentally deteriorating.
Yeah, mentally deteriorating, and everyone already hates and blames for Donald Trump being president. That'll do it. Yeah. So speaking of murderers, back in February of this year, I forgot, I didn't learn how to say. I was saying Ahmad, but apparently it's like Ahmoud.
Ahmoud Arbery.
Yeah, it's like, so we'll just say Ahmoud, and if that's not it, then we apologize, but I believe it's Ahmoud. But Ahmoud Arbery was jogging a few miles away from his home. He walked into a construction site and walked around looking around, which I want to just clear the air a little bit. I've done that before. Most of us have done that before. Stop somewhere and walk through a home being built just out of curiosity. I've done it. I can't even tell you how many times. And was I technically committing misdemeanor trespassing? Sure, Did I hurt anything? No. Do I deserve what we're about to talk about for doing that? Absolutely not. So
I've done that before. I've done that within the last 5 years. I've done that before. Yeah. And, you walk in, you're taking a look around, a house that's being built. Like, I'm not saying a construction site, obviously, like this situation was just a house being built, not like it's some huge skyscraper kind of thing.
Yeah, it was just a house being built. Yeah.
I've done this multiple times.
Yep.
And it's just, I go in to kind of try to figure out what it's going to look like because I will probably never be in that house.
Just curiosity of like what a layout's going to look like. I've done it so many times around our neighborhood and neighboring neighborhoods, especially when it's like these big palatial houses you want to walk through and like, oh, where's the stuff going to be? You're not taking anything. And again, if the owner showed up and was like, hey, get the hell out of here, I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I was just curious, whatever. The police come up and say, hey, get out of here. Okay, fine, I'm sorry, whatever. Like, I'm not saying I have the right to do that or anything else. I'm just saying people have done it, and it's not deserving of what happened to a mood after the fact.
Right. And Seth Thomas Benton in the comments there says they built a subdivision behind my house when I was a teenager and used to do it all the time. Yeah. I think everybody has done this.
Yeah. It's everyone has done like, the people that are saying, oh, well, he walked into a house. Okay. So then I guess he should be punished by being told to leave, because that's essentially what they do. If someone's, walking through an unfinished property that no one's occupying and it's not theirs and they don't have permission, they say, hey, skedaddle. And so you skedaddle. That is typically the punishment for such a heinous crime as walking through an unfinished home, which, again, we've all done. Like, this is like saying, oh, he ran a stop sign. Okay, yeah, he did, and so have all of us at some point. Not me, though. Not me. But, so anyway, so here's what happened next. So Super Saiyan Karens, Gregory and Travis McMichaels, Gregory is actually a retired police officer, so he and his son saw him at the construction site. They grabbed 2 weapons, jumped into their pickup truck, and chased after him after he left, and actually got in front of him as he was, jogging down the road heading home, because he was, like a couple miles from his house?
Yeah, he was about 2 miles from the house that he lived in. So he was doing apparently a regular jog track, according to his parents. He was doing like just his regular route, and they pulled out in front of him. They were being followed by William Roddy Bryan, who is filming this video that you see up on your TV right now. And you can kind of see, it's kind of difficult for anybody who hasn't seen this video. He tries to get around the truck. You see him kind of go around to the right of the truck, and then that was when he went after the guy. He went after Travis, and you can hear the gunshots. And in that last one, you see him stumble a little bit and fall.
Yep. So he died on site, and again, here's the timeline. He walked through a house, not their house, just a house. They decided to pull a citizen's arrest on him, and because now put yourself in his shoes for a minute.
Right.
You're jogging down the street. You may or may not even realize it has anything to do with that house. But you're jogging down the street, and a truck pulls ahead of you, drives past you, pulls up in front of you, waits for you as you're jogging down the road. And then, someone's sitting on the tailgate, sitting in the cab in the back, and the other one's standing by the truck, and they're telling you and they're both carrying weapons that they're pointing at you. And they tell you to stop because they need to talk to you.
Right.
And that you're not going anywhere. And they're not uniformed or anything else. They're just 2 people with guns.
They're just 2 people. And yeah, the original report says that that's what happens, and that they were shouting, stop, stop. We want to talk to you. We just want to talk to you. Stop. If this had been me and 2 people were like, stop, stop, we want to talk to you. Not happening. I'm going to do what he did and run around. And if you pull a gun, I'm either going to try to run faster
Yep.
or I'm going to do what he did. And I've seen a lot of things online. I'm not going to name that site that I've seen it on that probably many of us follow. But a lot of things online are saying, yeah, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Why would you attack a guy with a gun? Because right now his options were, he doesn't know if this guy's going to shoot him anyway.
Play stupid game? What option did he have? I mean, again, put yourself in this person's shoes. You have two armed men you don't know telling you, we want to talk to you. You stop. No, the hell I'm not stopping. In his mind, he only had one shot. And to try to fight for himself. He was defending himself here. The stupid game and stupid prizes is if you murder someone in the middle of the street, you may end up getting the death penalty for it or life in prison for it. That's the stupid prize for the stupid game. The stupid game is not defending yourself against two armed men when you're jogging down the street. Because he's not an armed robber. He didn't have a weapon on him. He didn't have any drugs on him. He had some old priors, which, okay, here's another one. Bringing a gun to school as a kid. I'm not going to say I've done that. I'm going to say that I've heard that I've done that. And then what else? Walking through construction sites, shoplifting. Again, another thing that I'll never say that I did as a youth at the mall a few times. Definitely not me. Kids do this stuff. Teenagers do this stuff. None of these things. And I'm not saying that it's okay to shoplift or that it's okay to, take a gun to school or that it's okay to, walk through someone else's property, even if it's unfinished and unoccupied. What I'm saying is none of that is commensurate with having someone try to stop you in the middle of the street with a gun and then kill you if you try to stop, try to resist that. That's unacceptable. And so
back in February, when all of this happened, when this initially happened, the Brunswick District Attorney, a woman by the name of Jackie Johnson, blocked police from arresting Greg and Travis because she was friends with Gregory from his days as a police officer.
Yep, good old boy stuff. Yep.
Right. And this is the reason Jackie Johnson is technically the reason that we all know about this case today. Because had she not blocked this from happening, it probably all would have happened. And Gregory, because the cops said back then, we have reason to arrest these people, arrest these two men on felony murder. And Jackie Johnson was like, no, we're not going to arrest him. I'm good friends with Gregory. We're not doing that. And it got swept under the rug.
Yep.
Ahmaud Arbery's mom recently came out and said that she was exceptionally happy. This isn't in the notes, I don't think. That she was exceptionally happy that this video came out because she was certain that there was going to be no justice for what happened.
Yep.
And she is 100% correct. There would have been no justice for what happened.
Nothing. If their friend behind them hadn't taken this video, they would have made it sound like he was an absolute monster and that they did everything they could to try to resolve it peacefully and they just couldn't stop him. Right. And instead we see what actually happened.
Right. Alan Tucker, who is a criminal defense lawyer for William Roddy Bryan.
Who took the video.
That's who took the video.
Yeah.
He released the video because, as he says, he wanted to promote absolute transparency and he wanted to prevent a riot from happening. Those direct quotes from him. He knew that if something wasn't done and any of this went out, riots.
Yep.
And if Gregory and Travis get off, riots.
Yep. So now, and understandably so, because this is straight up. First of all, and we are two people that try at whenever possible to find a reason other than racism or bigotry to attribute to a situation. We are not people who are always saying, oh, this was racist, that was racist, this was bigoted or whatever. The underlying current of two white men being able to kill a young black man who may or may not have committed a very petty misdemeanor and to have their also white friend who is in a position of power. Oh, also one of them is a retired cop. To have one of their white friends who is also a person in power write off, what they did because they're friends, and to come up with this absolutely ridiculous reason for letting them off that, oh, well, he attacked them and he had priors from, 10 years ago. Like, they'd know that he had priors, or like that was even germane to the situation then. And, coming up with every ridiculous conclusion. There in the Deep South, there is a racial element to this. And I have to think that if it had been a white guy jogging down the street after going through a house, and two black men stopped him in the middle of the street and gunned him down like this after he tried to defend himself against them, that a lot of the people that would be knee-jerk defending this would also possibly be saying, oh, well, the thugs are taking over our streets. Now, there are some people that are very upset right now that, might go the other way and look for excuses. But all that to say that, even taking that aside, looking at the power dynamic here, that you have a DA covering for a retired cop who basically murdered someone because they were suspicious in the streets. In the streets because they were suspicious of them. Yeah, riots will happen from that. There was a meme that went around that said they didn't arrest them because they saw the video. They arrested them because we saw the video. And that's true.
That's true. Once the video went viral, it still took a couple of days before they arrested Gregory and Travis. And they charged them with murder and aggravated assault. And they are claiming self-defense in this situation, saying that he attacked them. Two guys in a truck, as we've already gone over in grave detail, and will continue to. Two guys, you're out for a jog, two guys in a truck pull up in front of you, get out, both of them brandishing weapons, and you try to stop one of them from pointing one at you, and you attacked them?
It's insane. It is insane. They actually referenced that he was, going after them and their property. Their property being the guns they were pointing at him.
Right.
Like, I mean, if I go up to someone and say, I'm going to kill you, and and this is a gun, and they grab the gun, I'm still the aggressor. They're defending themselves. I initiated all of this. He did not initiate anything by jogging down the street and not wanting to comply with two strangers who were pointing guns at him out of their pickup truck in the Deep South. Well, anywhere.
The people out there, because you'll see this a lot. I while doing research for this, because I wanted to make sure that we got everything right, I watched a lot of videos filled with just the most repugnant crap I've ever seen. And they're like, well, in the state of Georgia, it is legal for you to commit or to perform a citizen's arrest. So if somebody tells you to stop, you need to. And it's like, no, I don't. I do not need to accept the authority of anybody.
And to take that to its full conclusion, that would mean that Ahmoud could have told them, no, you stop. I'm arresting you. Like, give me a break.
Right. Yeah, it makes no sense. Like the arguments that they're using on it, absolutely insane. But luckily, once the video did go viral, it went viral, and like Spike said, they aren't arresting him because they saw it. They're arresting him because we saw it. Many celebrities, politicians weighed in, saying that this should require a grand jury, and many of them are calling for the prosecution of the McMichaels, which, yes, definitely, to all of that. Personally, I was a little surprised by former Representative
Trey Gowdy,
who weighed in on the incident on Fox News.
Background has confidence in. I guess my first question would be, why did it take the video? I mean, if you have someone who is jogging, who is unarmed, who is shot and killed by officers who aren't officers, they're not even law enforcement officers, why did it take the video? It makes me think back to the shooting in Charleston, where the police officer said he was acting in self-defense, and then the video came out. So,
exactly.
so I think what people of color want to know is, where is the justice before it's on video? Because most of this stuff is not on video.
Okay, this is a former federal prosecutor, Republican firebrand. Like, this is not a left-wing conspiracy. Like, across the board, anyone who is looking at this from either a moral or legal, mindset, this was straight up murder. It was aggravated murder, murder to whatever. It was murder. They planned to kill him, and then they did. because he had no other option but to either comply 100% with everything these two non-police officer, non-identified people did with him, or they were going to kill him. Not detain him, not call the police, not observe and report. Kill him.
Kill him.
Yep.
And so anybody who's been looking at this online, which maybe it's just me because I wanted to make sure that I got everything right, you're going to see a lot of rumors and you're going to see a lot of memes. So I'm going to dispel a lot of that right now. He was only a couple miles from his house. He wasn't 87 or 97 or whatever number they put in there. He wasn't 97 miles away. He was only like 2 miles away. Like we said earlier, the reason that people are saying, oh, he was 87 miles from his house is because his family moved after this incident because they didn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
And they moved roughly 87 or 90, whatever.
Which I don't blame him. I'd move 100 miles away too.
He was wearing jogging shoes. I believe they were Nikes, not Timberland boots. So when people are like, oh, well, if he was jogging, why is he wearing Timberland boots? Well, he wasn't. He was wearing Nike shoes. In the video where he's seen in the construction site, he didn't take anything. He went in, he walked around, which means at best, he is guilty of misdemeanor trespassing. But the owner of that construction site, I'm not sure if he's the house owner or the guy that owns the construction building. I didn't catch that part. Okay. He said, I did not ask those guys to watch the house. I did not ask them to act as security on the house. I don't care. He was there.
Yeah.
Especially because he didn't take anything.
This happens. Like, if you do construction, people come in and look around and whatever, which, by the way, is why they don't leave expensive stuff there, because they're basically leaving an open, thing that you can walk into. They know how this works. And again, I'm not saying that it should be okay to, trespass on property that's not yours or anything like that. But the way you deal with that is say, hey, get out of here. Like, what are you doing here? There's no reason for you to be here. Please leave. They didn't do that. They wanted to detain him and see what this was about. And, you don't want to do what I say, and you want to fight back against two people pointing guns at you? Okay, we're just going to kill you. Again, there's two of us, but we're just going to kill you. Let's go through some of the comments here. Trisha Butler says this is absolutely disgusting. It definitely is.
I was actually just looking at that one going, we have to read that.
Yeah, no, it is. Seth Thomas Benton says, these two will probably get off pretty easy. Prison time, yeah. Long prison time, probably not. I have that feeling already. Good old boy system. I hope you're wrong. I would not be surprised if you're right, Seth. I think the only possibility of them getting it hit hard is that this is public and national now. Everyone's paying attention. Otherwise, if they had just handled it, if instead of being, ridiculous and letting them off, if they had just tried it in a quieter situation, they probably would have gotten a slap on the wrist. It might even happen now, but I don't know, man. It's so public now. I don't know.
The issue that yes, looking at, hang on a second, Brunswick. Looking at Brunswick, yeah, they might kind of get off a little light, because of the good old boy system, as Seth says. But people are being looked at federally for federal hate crime laws.
Yeah, I think
they could get hit hard there.
Yeah,
because people want something. They want something from this. They have expectations, and if Brunswick lets them off light, there is a chance they get hit hard federally.
Yeah, I agree. Comment from Libertarian presidential candidate Kenneth Blevins says police officers are 6 times more likely to commit crimes and 10 times more likely to commit gun crimes than concealed carry permit holders. Just saying. That's an impressive stat.
That is a really impressive stat.
That's talk about serve and protect. Gary Woods says someone was allowed to stand their ground for self-defense, and it sure wasn't the aggressive hillbillies brandishing deadly force. Exactly.
Right.
He had every right to defend himself, stand his ground. Really, he could have citizens arrested them. Hey, I'm citizens arresting you two for pointing and presenting a firearm.
Yeah, and that's another thing you'll see is in the state of Georgia, it's legal for you to open carry in residential neighborhoods. Yeah. Okay. I don't think you are allowed to point them at somebody.
No, there's a whole
brandishing deadly force. I don't believe that is allowed.
You can't like.
And I could be wrong. I don't know Georgia law that well.
There is a protocol that needs to be followed when you're trying to detain someone, and it doesn't involve, oh, you are resisting me even slightly, I'll just kill you then. Like, that's not how it works. And if you've put yourself in a situation where someone who was not threatening you is now grabbing the gun that you pointed at them, I got news for you. You created that situation, and you're still the aggressor that they're defending themselves against. So, no, hopefully that the family of Ahmoud and everyone else gets justice on this, because it is absolutely.
This was a travesty of the entire good old boy system that you see. And you don't just see it in places like Georgia and Alabama. You see this everywhere.
Yeah, it's a problem. I mean, it's a big problem here.
Protects the thin blue line.
Who protects the thin blue line?
The thin blue line protects the thin blue line.
Yeah, the thin blue line is a circle that protects everything inside of it, and that's how you have statistics like 40% of police officers who admit to being domestic abusers because they're not worried about it.
And not that I'm doubting Ken Blevins, because I would never do that, but since I haven't looked this stat up, and according to Ken Blevins, police officers are 6 times more likely to commit crimes and 10 times more likely to commit gun crimes than concealed carry permit holders.
Yep. And Gary Wood said, big difference between carrying and drawing on someone. There's a force ladder. Exactly. Like, there's a level of acceptable escalation. You can't go straight from, hey, excuse me, I want to talk to you, to shoot them shoot to kill because they didn't comply. Right, there has to be some commensurate level of... Go ahead.
Yeah, because they didn't listen to 2 guys forcefully saying, hey, you need to stop. And you're like, no, I don't.
I'm definitely not stopping. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not stopping for you.
Yep, exactly. And if he had stolen anything, I guarantee you that would have been in the report. Because I've had people go, well, we don't know if he stole anything. Okay, well, first of all, the burden of the proof is on them. And second of all, they didn't have anything. I guarantee you, if he had stolen anything, that would have been in the report. They would have stamped it as closed, and they would now be trumpeting that everywhere far and wide that he had stuff he had stolen. He didn't take anything.
The best that I have heard is he took a hammer. That's the best that I've heard, and I don't even know if that's like.
Yeah,
I didn't see him take it in the video where he's walking around the construction site. I may not have seen all of it. And they say, oh, you can see him drop it in the video. Is like, why would you carry it that far when you see people chasing you?
Who's jogging with a hammer? Like, if you are finding yourself having to defend 2 men who stood in the middle of the street and gunned down a man because he tried to get by them and stop them from shooting him, then you may need to dial it back a bit. I remember the people that went to extreme lengths to defend the cops who killed Tamir Rice, who was a 12-year-old kid who was walking around outside with a BB gun and playing gun with a BB gun. And one of the neighbors called the police and said, I'm pretty sure he has a BB gun, but I just want to make sure everything is okay, because I don't know if it's a real gun, and he's, some people are scared because they don't know if it's a gun or not. The person who called said, I'm pretty sure it's just a toy gun or a BB gun. I think it was actually not even a BB gun. It was a toy. I forget if it was a BB gun or a toy gun or what.
I think it was an airsoft gun or something.
Yeah, it was either airsoft gun, but it looked like a pistol or whatever, and I think it even had the red thing on the end. And the person said, I'm pretty sure it's not a real gun. So you know what the police did? They came up within about 1.5 feet of him in their police cruiser and told him to put the gun down as they shot him. And this is all recorded. They didn't know it, but it was being recorded on one of the security cameras on one of the apartment buildings. And they said, oh yeah, we tried to stop him. We told him to put it down, and he presented it. No, he didn't. They pulled up to him and said, put the gun down, boom. Like, it's on video. And right. the mental and verbal gymnastics that people went through to defend these 2 cops who rolled up on a kid with what was apparently a fairly obvious toy gun and shoot him. If they thought they were in danger, why'd they come that close? Because they weren't in danger.
Right.
They decided they wanted to kill that kid for whatever reason. They decided they wanted to kill that kid. And people went through ridiculous contortions to defend that. So
you see that all the time, especially in cases where it's an African American person who has been, murdered on the streets. And this is just, unfortunately, this is not the last time we're going to be talking about this.
No.
This is just the most recent one.
Yep.
And hopefully, and Trey Gowdy blew my mind with his statement.
He was 100% correct.
He is 100% correct. Why does it take a video? Because many times there is no video. And he is 100% correct. How long will it be before we don't need the video, before it's like, hey, maybe we should look into this a little bit deeper?
No, exactly. I agree 100%. We say on this show a lot, if you're pulled over by police, you say, just enjoying my day. I don't answer questions. Am I free to go or am I being detained? And if you're being detained, shut up. Shut up. Stop talking to them. Here's another thing. Record them. Record the police. Record the police. Live stream the police if you can, because then they can't even delete it. Live stream the police. Say nothing and live stream them. The more they are in front of a camera, it's not a guarantee that they won't abuse you, but they're less likely to do it overall if they know people are watching them. You're being live streamed. I don't answer questions. Am I free to go or am I being detained? And then shut up. Shut up and record them. Hashtag record the police. Hashtag shut up. But you know who shouldn't shut up? Is you. When you leave messages for us to answer. On this, our personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor call-in moment. Where you can go to anchor.fm/muddiedwaters and press the leave message button or send message button, and you can leave messages for us, and we will answer them right here every week on the Muddied Waters of Freedom during the personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor call-in moment. Matt?
And most of the time we don't listen to them beforehand, so
yeah, usually we don't have time.
Blindsided.
Yeah, you can blindside us. It's really just a great opportunity. If you ever wanted to really corner us on something, this is the time and the way to do it. Is to do it this way. I'm actually pulling it up right now. But so we have 4 today. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay, we have 4. 2 by personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, and 2 by our good old friend Matt, the Wonder Boy Hicks.
Laser legend.
Hashtag laser legend Hicks. So let's start with the first one here from Chris Reynolds.
Personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds here with your sports segment. It's been a pretty rough couple of months, especially for people who enjoy watching sports. We really haven't had much of anything. But that is about to change, at least for a little bit. We'll see. But the much to Spike's enjoyment, the Bundesliga is back. Within the next week, the top flight German league is going to resume play, and I wanted to know who the guys thought were going to come out on top. We've got, obviously, Bayern Munich, the perennial favorite, but this time challenged by at least 2. RB Leipzig has an amazing team, and Dortmund. So who you guys got for winning? Thanks.
I don't know why he does this. The Bundesliga? What?
Bundesliga, it's German soccer. I would go with Bayern Munich.
Oh, okay, so you know. Okay, me too.
I just Googled.
Me too. I would also go
Bayern Munich.
With Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
That sounds like I'm all about Bayern Munich. That's definitely what I'm about over here.
Why he asks us those questions?
I don't get it.
Let me ask you about obscure soccer leagues.
I guess just to watch me squirm, which is fine. It's really, I think Chris doesn't like that it's hard to to trip me up when asking questions. So he asked me questions about things I know nothing about at all. And I'm sure that that's what this next one's going to be about. Let's find out together.
Personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds here with your AOC Millennial Minute. Back in the early 90s, James Carville coined the phrase, "It's the economy, stupid." Back then, he had Clinton, and they were essentially attacking George Bush on multiple things, but the main thing is the country was in a recession, and it worked. There's been tons of studies done since then, and even before then, about the link between an incumbent winning or losing and the economy. And due to the pandemic, we have what is about to be a pretty scary recession. Yep. Normally, people would be saying that Trump was in trouble because of this, but I'm not hearing that a ton. And so I'd love to hear your guys' take on how the economy might affect the upcoming election. Thanks.
Hey, look, a question I can actually talk about intelligently. So we have said on this show, Chris, and you know because you're one of our main sponsors, we have said on this show that the only thing that could defeat Donald Trump is a recession. That none of the Democrats had what it took to win the Electoral College in the way that they needed to. They could run up the scoreboard in LA and New York and Chicago and so forth and win 2, 3, or even 4 percentage points more than Trump. But in terms of winning the states they need to win to be able to win the election, we didn't think any of them had the what it took, with the exception of possibly Bernie, but Bernie can't get nominated in his own party. So we said that the only thing that could potentially stop him is a recession. That if the economy went bad, people would blame him, and that would be the end of that. What we did not anticipate was a freaking pandemic, unlike that the mankind has not experienced since like the Black Death.
The 1920s, right?
Well, the 19-teens, except the difference was back then everyone was just like, well, I guess we just got to tough it out and die. Like, people had a different mentality. So it was, which is why so many people died, because they were like, well, I guess we're going to be sucked this year. Like, it's, it was just a different, the idea of everyone just shutting everything down for however many weeks or months to try to slow the rate of growth or whatever would have been unheard of back then. So in light of that, people are kind of giving him a pass right now, or at least in the center are, which is why the polling hasn't dramatically changed. The other thing that Matt and I have talked about is who shows up during a pandemic to vote really close to a bunch of other people and touch all the same stuff other people touched. People who think the thing is either a hoax or just completely overblown. That's Donald Trump supporters. That's not Joe Biden supporters. And then also in the big cities where they rely on, the way that they can, win Illinois and Florida and Virginia and California even, and, and be in contention in Texas and North Carolina and, possibly even Georgia, is by running up big totals in major metro areas. Well, those are the areas that are the most hard hit, and they're the areas that people are the least likely to want to, go outside during a pandemic, and it's ineffective to have them socially distanced during election day, which means most of them aren't even going to be able to make it to the vote because it'll be physically impossible for them to get there. So obviously, the favorite is Vermin Supreme in that situation.
I just saw that you gave the episode the wrong title. You called it Obamacare. But yeah, you're 100% correct there. You're 100% correct there. The people who will go out to vote, they are going to be the people who, like you said, think that this is not as bad as the media has been portraying it. The people who won't go out are the people who believe that it's as bad as the media has been telling it.
Yep.
And we will probably be experiencing some second or third wave right around November. So the people are going to say, do I want to go out to vote for Joe Biden, or do I not want to go out to vote for Joe Biden? It's really important for us to get Trump out of office, but man, is that worth dying for?
Is that worth it? Is Joe Biden worth dying for? Is the question that they're going to say.
Right. And to many of them, they're going to say no.
Yep.
Now, a lot of polls show Joe Biden is up by, anywhere between 2 and 6, depending on where. But these are national average polls.
Right.
If you take a look at the polls based on the states that Trump won versus states that Hillary won, Trump is still going to win this thing. And unless, of course, everybody goes out and votes for Spike for VP. And
only I can save you, America.
That's right. Only Spike can save you.
Only Vermin and me and the Badger can save you.
But yes, the fact that the economy is tanking, you're going to get a pass on this one because of the reason that it tanked. Well, even the perceived reason that it tanked.
The perceived reason that it tanked. And obviously that's a big part of the reason. That and the lockdowns are a big part of why it happened. But there was already a bubble that was going to burst. So in a way, this has helped Donald Trump a lot. It gave him an excuse. And he's been able to grandstand on blaming the Democrats on it. And he has a rabid fan base that will defend him with anything that he does. And the ones who don't defend him hate their choice of candidate and are the ones who don't want to go outside to do anything, much less to vote for Joe Biden. And imagine after almost a year of telling everyone, stay in your house, do not go outside. It's selfish to want to get a haircut. It's selfish to want to go to the restaurant. But you have to come out and vote for Joe Biden. It's the worst possible optics for the Democrats to go and tell people to go out and vote, stand in line all day long, COVID be damned, we have to stop Donald Trump. It is. If Donald Trump could have made all of this happen himself, he couldn't have done it any better than if it were playing out this way for
That's a good conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I definitely do not think Donald Trump
planned out COVID.
Donald Trump is figuring out how to answer what Obamagate is.
Right.
And of course, I say that having spelled it wrong in our title, but I will fix that later. So anyone watching this now has no idea what we're even talking about.
Real quick, Logan over on Twitter. One, thanks for the retweet. Everybody else should do that too. And,
everyone retweet us right now.
Everybody retweet us or share us on Facebook right now. And you're going to find out all about Spike's campaign at the end of this episode. So tune in. Stay tuned in.
Hody John says, it's okay, don't fix it. Came for the Obamacare, stay for the Spike. Thank you so much, Hody. Jacob LaBelle says, Spike and Vermin are good for the well-being of my children, worth dying for. Okay. Seth says, Badger for Secretary of State. I am fine with that. Brian McDonald says, still love you though, Spike. Glad you got some support for a VP nod. Looking forward to things to come. Keep up the good work, hombre. My buddy Matt is doing all right too, I guess. LOL.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Yes. And then Seth says Stabby the Narwhal for Secretary of the Interior for some reason. So Stabby's over there, but we thank you. Stabby thanks you. Stabby will always be there to support you and the American people. So yes, that's the answer to that question. Now here are 2 questions from #LaserLegend Matt Hicks.
Hey guys, Matt Hicks calling in on the Chris Reynolds personal injury attorney call-in line. I would like for you gentlemen to discuss this evening the idea that we are living in some sort of security theater environment with this whole COVID-19 spread reduction plan. The reason I say that is because I heard some people talking about how they're taking temperatures at airports and all of this stuff. And it seemed ridiculous because you could be infected and shedding virus asymptomatically, no temperature, no cough, no nothing, anywhere from a couple of days to 2 weeks after being infected. And then additionally, you got everybody walking around wearing these recommended masks. but they're 100% ineffective if not properly worn. And if you see gaps around your nose or you have facial hair, it's not proper. Or if you take it off and there's not lines on your face from it being so tight, it's not correct. Yeah. Hashtag laser legend.
Yeah. So 100% correct. This is theater.
Right. A couple of months ago, Dr. Fauci.
Hey, Dr. Fauci.
Hey, I'm going to
Dr. Fauci. That's like he doesn't talk that way at all, but every time we talk about Fauci, because
he should.
Dr. Fauci.
He went on CNN or MSNBC. This wasn't in the notes, so I don't have this pulled up. Months ago, and he said, no, the masks aren't going to help you. And now the CDC is going, oh, everybody should be out there wearing
masks. Yeah,
everybody should wear masks. And then they changed that to cloth covering because masks kind of gave like the full facial impression. So they changed it.
And you couldn't get them. You couldn't even get masks because of like the hospitals had bought them all up.
Right. And at the beginning, they said, no, if you have a cloth covering, that's not going to do anything for you. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed.
Yep.
This is literally, as he said, security theater.
Yep.
They're taking this pandemic and using it as a chance to try to control you in different ways.
And to make you feel like they're doing something. Part of the theater is the performative aspect of making you feel like, don't worry, the government's doing everything it can do. Well, none of these things are effective. Yes, but we're doing them. So
they're about to put in another $3 trillion worth of stimulus, of which they're only going to give $1,200 to each taxpayer. And what's the rest of that money for?
It's for security theater and every other type of theater. All of these things that they do are primarily for the purpose of giving the two things. Give you the impression that they're accomplishing something and condition you to comply with whatever ridiculous things they tell you to do. Jump down, touch toes, grab your knees, do a little shimmy, because that's going to keep you safe from COVID. Everyone do it right now or you're going to jail. Right. It's the same thing.
Everybody throw your liquids away because they might be explosives, but throw them into this huge bucket.
Right next to me.
Right next to
this. Sorry, sir. This bottle of water that you're carrying and drinking from in front of me could absolutely be a bomb. Better put it in this little container next to me and all the other security personnel right in the middle, front of the line where everyone's standing with all the other things that we think could be bombs.
Right.
It's theater. It is make you think something's being done to make you feel safer and make you comply with it so that you can associate safety with obedience. And that's all it is. The whole thing with the could it potentially stop some people from traveling if you're checking them for a fever? Sure. But the reality is it spreads without, like Matt Hicks said, it spreads without fever. It spreads without symptoms. They increasingly believe that it's largely spread from super shedders who have no symptoms and just shed more virus than most of the people who carry it, which is how SARS spread. SARS and MERS both spread. Most people barely spread it at all, but you'd have a handful of people who were super shedders who would have little to no symptoms and would just shed virus all day long everywhere they went, breathing, talking, on their skin, just literally existing anywhere. The virus is just pouring out of them. You are not going to be able to stop them with that kind of stuff. But you know what you can do? You can make people feel like everything's okay because the government's in charge, and you can make them feel like they have to listen to you no matter how absurd it sounds or how draconian or oppressive or ridiculous it sounds, because at least they're doing something to keep you safe. That's the point of it.
And increasing spending
and increasing the cost inside.
Yeah, increasing spending so much that even though we were already in debt that we were probably never going to get out of without literally just filing bankruptcy or just ending the debt.
Right.
There's going to be no other option after this.
They're going to spend like $10 trillion this year.
Thomas Massey is predicting $40 trillion in debt by the time this is all over.
I believe him. Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think he might be a little low.
They're going to spend $10 to $15 trillion this year, and probably the same thing next year, because now they've convinced themselves, Democrats and Republicans, that they can actually spend their way out of this recession.
Right.
Now, if you're holding Bitcoin, that's some terrific news for you. If you're not, it's not the best news. because
Right.
when you print out $20 trillion without any corresponding value that goes along with it, you've just deteriorated everyone's money because it's the same amount of value spread out over that many more Federal Reserve notes. You know, those things you get paid in and use to to pay all your bills and pay your rent, pay your mortgage, whatever. Those were things, which is why the cost of living keeps going up. We're about to see some major cost of living increases. And I don't mean like adjustments to your Social Security. I mean the cost of living inflation's going to go way up as a result.
Way up.
This is a problem. So here's our final question from #LaserLegend, Matt Hicks.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Hicks calling in on the Chris Reynolds personal injury attorney call-in line. Simple question for you. Who is the only vice presidential candidate in the Libertarian Party to be endorsed by both the Libertarian Party Radical Caucus and the Libertarian Party Mises Caucus? Tough question. #LaserLegend.
#LaserLegend indeed. We're going to have to bury the lead there a bit, Matt, because that's going to be in our update at the end of the show. But that's an excellent question.
Anybody watching could probably figure this one out.
You'll never know unless you stay tuned in to the end of the show where we do the Vermin Spike update. Otherwise, who knows the answer to that? It could be anyone. It could be anyone. So, but thank you for that. We will be answering that shortly. Let's see here. So, speaking of things that we will hear of now because I'm saying them. Oh, thank you. Speaking of thank you to people for giving us the next thing to talk about, a special shout out to our very briefly former editor-in-chief, Zuri Davis, who left us to go work for Reason and make a living instead of being a volunteer. By the way,
working for us for free.
By the way, if you're looking for gainful employment, just become a volunteer for us because you'll get hired before you can really do much of anything for us at all.
Right.
And it'll be like a really good job that you have to take immediately, and we can't even be upset about it because why the hell would you stick around with us for free when you can make good money doing a good thing?
Right. We've had two editor-in-chiefs. One left for a good job at Students for Liberty, and the other one left. Zuri left for a good job at Reason. So no love lost to either of them.
No, absolutely not. We love them.
Love them both. Love them both. Glad they're doing well. And if you want a really great job, just apply with us, and you will probably find a new one.
Yeah. The great job's not with us. Let's be clear.
Right.
Like ours is just helping us for free because you like us. But the payoff is that you do get a good job like 4 days later.
Right.
Maybe a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah, on average, I think it's like 8 days based on those two.
Yeah. Like it's less than 2 weeks. So shout out to Zuri. And for this story here about this absolutely ridiculous. You've covered this more than me, but it is absolutely absurd about a very abusive officer in the LAPD, Matt.
So another video went viral last week, which actually got a little shadowed. This was a little overshadowed by the Ahmaud Arbery video. Mm-hmm. Understandably, that video was heinous, and the fact that it happened in February and we were only finding out about it as a nation and basically the world so many months later, it makes sense. But this video went viral of Officer Frank Hernandez of the LAPD beating a suspect brutally while in custody.
Here we go.
Just so everybody knows, this is actually a really brutal video. No, just standing there. He was just standing there, hands behind his back. Now, granted, we don't know what was before that, as Trump would say, but he was standing there in that moment
with his hands behind his back. Yep.
He wasn't in cuffs yet, but his hands were just right there behind his back, standing calmly.
Yeah, I'm actually going to, keep talking, but I'm going to go ahead and show the first part of it again, just so you can see.
Right. So he's, as you can see here in the video, he's standing there, feet wide, and hands behind the back. And then Officer Frank Hernandez steps back and bam, just right in the back of the head and just starts swinging.
And at no point during this does the guy hit back. Keep in mind, look at what's happening. He's literally just covering up while he's getting, beaten in the head repeatedly, in the back of the head, which is a very dangerous place to get hit. And literally all he is doing is holding. Now, it will not surprise you to hear that there are some idiots out there saying things like, hey, he didn't have his hands behind his back. I encourage you, if someone starts hitting you, just as an experiment, try just keeping your hands behind your back the whole time and not reflexively holding your head that you're being beaten on. So, anyway, that went out, and let's see. So, yeah, go. You know this story better than me. I just watched the video, and I was like, holy crap.
Right, yeah, I saw the video yesterday, and I said, oh, we could talk about Michael. We could talk about Flynn. Michael Flynn? Flynn. We could talk about Flynn, but
Michael Flynn,
no, I want to talk about this instead because fuck this guy.
Yeah, seriously, yeah.
So Internal Affairs got involved after this, and shockingly, it is reported that Frank is no stranger to behavioral incidents.
Oh, wow. Really?
I know. Weird, right?
Yeah.
Back in 1999, he shot a robbery suspect.
Mm-hmm.
Shot him. In 2008, Hernandez shot Joseph Wolf in the leg as Frank was pursuing a suspect who threatened the police with a weapon. Now, many of you might be thinking, well, Joseph Wolf shouldn't have done that. Joseph Wolf.
When I read that, I'm like, well, that's not bad. He threatened the police with a weapon, but.
Right. Joseph Wolf was a bystander who was outside of his house watching as the pursuit was happening. Then Frank Hernandez told him to stop watching. Okay. He goes back to go inside. He gets shot in the leg. Wolf was charged with assault with a deadly weapon, but the only weapons found in his residence were 2 plastic toy guns. Presumably, I'm not going to say this definitely, presumably for children, but...
Probably children's guns, yeah.
Probably. Wolf later accused the LAPD of fabricating charges, which were eventually dropped to cover up the entire situation.
Yep.
Then in 2010... Oh, man, I was really hoping you would read this one. Hernandez shot...
I'll say it. Hernandez shot Manuel Jimenez
a day laborer. XUM. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah. I think it's Jimenez and then XUM.
Jimenez.
And he's a day laborer from Guatemala.
Right.
Yep.
Now, Manuel was reportedly drunk and wielding a knife. And had been threatening 2 women.
Okay.
Right. Not good to be doing.
No.
However, Hernandez shot him twice after Manuel allegedly lunged toward him. Protesters said that Manuel spoke Quiche.
Yeah, Quiche, which is an indigenous Guatemalan language.
Right. And could not have possibly understood the command. They said this commands to him in both English and Spanish, but he doesn't speak that.
He doesn't speak that.
He speaks Keiche or Quiche, or I don't know how to pronounce it. It's K''ICHE''.
Yep.
So he didn't understand the commands. He ended up being shot. Now, for each of these 3 incidences, the LA County District Attorney's Office found each shooting justified, including, the robbery suspect. That's all the information we have.
Yeah.
Potentially, sure.
Let's err on the side of
benefit of the doubt.
Benefit of the doubt. Let's say that was justified.
Right. And Manuel Jimenez, not great optics on this one.
Very possibly that was justified as well, because whether or not he spoke the language, he probably could figure out that a cop was telling him what to do, and if he did actually lunge at him. But here's the problem. We see how he treated Joseph Wolf, who just went back in his house, and maybe he said something under his breath or whatever, and so Hernandez lost it and shot him, and then, covered it up by saying that he, charged him with, assault with a deadly weapon. It looks like he has a history of making stuff up. So now all of these are in doubt, because we see from that video, it looks like the guy may have just mouthed off to him while completely complying with his orders on being, allowing himself to be, cuffed and arrested. It sounds like he's a hothead, and if you say the wrong thing to him, he's going to assault you or shoot you or whatever else, and then, charge you on trumped up charges. So we don't know that Manuel Zoom or whatever his name is, that, we now have to doubt all of these things because he's proven he'll lie about it and beat you up if you don't like what you said or how you acted.
Yep. So yeah, here's a cop. He's fired his weapon 3 times. And according to a Pew Research survey from 2017, only 27% of officers have said they have ever fired their weapon.
And he's done it 3 times. Yeah. 3 times in just over 20 years.
Right. 20 years.
So this isn't, I've been a beat cop for 50 years and I had to pull out my gun 3 times. This is 20 years. Like, this is, you're sensing a pattern here, I trust. So, so this guy's...
So that's 3 times he shot somebody, and then you just saw him on video beating a suspect. You just saw him on video beating a suspect. And like Trey Gowdy says, why do we need the video? How many times has this happened before it? Because I'm just based on 3 times he's pulled his gun, when only 27% of cops say they've done it, at least once.
Yep.
Everybody else is like, no, never had to do it. 27% of the time, that's what cops are saying. He has pulled it 3 times, and you have him on video beating somebody. There is a pattern here.
Yeah, this is, and unfortunately, this is what happens very often. You don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg, but regardless, a lot of times, people who are like him get attracted to law enforcement. And the reason they get attracted to law enforcement is that your job, you get to essentially tell people what to do. And if they don't listen, you have a lot of latitude in how to deal with them and a lot of latitude in reporting what happened. So you get to explain how it went, and deference is given to your version of the story over others unless there's evidence against you. Otherwise, if it's he said, she said, they go with what the cop said. And that attracts a lot of people who want to abuse that so that they can just be a dick to you and just beat people up and shoot people and be a scumbag. And I think it looks like Frank Hernandez is an example of that.
Right. And he does not deserve the leniency of the LAPD. He does not deserve the leniency of the courts.
No.
Will he get it? Probably.
And he's a prime example of what can happen when people become police officers. Or again, how the types of people that can get attracted to that job. Sometimes people get into that job and over time they get influenced by the culture and they become something like this. Some people are, remain really good people, and whether or not they're, the best in terms of enforcing things or being fair, they at least aren't going around beating everyone who doesn't, listen to them or says something under their breath or mouths off or whatever. So just another example of why we as libertarians believe that voluntary solutions are better than coerced ones, because coerced solutions happen at the end of a barrel of a gun, usually often wielded by people like Frank Hernandez. And I would just as soon not have to deal with people like Frank Hernandez ever.
Yeah, no, if I'm in LA and I'm getting pulled over, my first question
is your name Frank Hernandez?
Is your name Frank Hernandez?
While you're recording, if they go, yes, I don't answer questions. And then that's a perfect example of shut up.
Shut up. Don't say a word.
Don't say a word to Frank Hernandez. Just record him.
And that's the sad thing is you don't know when you're getting pulled over if you're getting pulled over by a Frank Hernandez.
Mm-hmm. You have no idea. You'll know pretty quickly, but there's no way initially to know. Nor can you choose to say, excuse me, you're Frank Hernandez. I would absolutely love to speak with someone else besides you. I think you and I can just sit here and take it easy and wait for someone else to come, and then you can go about your business. I have a friend, and I'm not gonna name him, but he lives in South Carolina, and he talked about how he was driving down the road and dark, late at night on a country road, got pulled over by a cop. The cop, and he said he thinks he might have been speeding, but he got pulled over, and the cop, is yelling at him and getting mouthy with him, and he's trying to just calm the cop down, and he's a black man, and the cop was white, and the cop's getting more and more worked up, and, at one point he just says something like, "Officer, just relax, I'm going to give you whatever you need." The guy, "Don't tell me to relax." So he pulls open my friend's car, I almost said his name, pulls open my friend's car door, drags him out, puts him down on the ground, and is, yelling at him, and he's thinking, I'm a black man in, on the dirt right now. I'm lying in the dirt by the side of the road at 3 o'clock in the morning. He was coming back from from wherever he had been, friends' houses or whatever. And, I could get killed right now. And thankfully another cop showed up and said, "What's going on here?" And he's like, "Hey, he's threatening me," or whatever he said. And that cop got the original cop, to go and relax somewhere and calm down. And he dealt with my friend, and they gave him a ticket, I think, for speeding or brake light out or something like that. Whatever it was, they cited him, and then he was able to leave. If that cop hadn't shown up, that second cop, he could have been killed.
Yeah, who knows?
We have no idea. Or that cop was just, doing anything he could to get my friend worked up so that he could then beat him or kill him or what. We don't know. But thankfully, that other cop showed up and de-escalated the first cop. It looks like Frank Hernandez needs to have someone around him at all times de-escalating him. Or he could just be punished for what he's done, or at the very least lose his badge. But I got some good news for you, folks. We're going to put an end to that
show where we were just spewing bad news at you.
We're going to end on a good note, because this is all going to come to an end soon, because soon Vermin Supreme and I are going to be the president and vice president of the United States of America. And all of these things that we're talking about will no longer happen ever again. Now, you may be wondering, well, how's the campaign going? Well, it's going fantastic. So Vermin was in the very first, and I forgot to get a screenshot of it, but Vermin was in a Libertarian Party of Kentucky debate. It was the first one that known recent candidate entry, Justin Amash, newcomer Justin Amash, was in. And Vermin did very well. There was actually a poll that was done, and I didn't get a screenshot of it, but he won the internet poll that was done by a third party called Star Vote. He won 918 to 560 something, and I don't have that screenshot. But some other interesting stuff happened. One, I won a poll, a Muddy Waters Media poll, with over 1,000 votes in. I beat Larry Sharp and John McAfee and Ken Armstrong for the question of who is the preferred vice presidential nominee. And you might be saying, well, that's fantastic. Certainly there's no better news that could have happened this week. You'd be wrong, because two things happened. Actually, many things happened since then. A lot of endorsements have come in, but two fairly notable endorsements that happened on the same day.
That was a wild Sunday.
Sunday was wild. This is when all the voting happened. So on Monday it was announced that on Sunday the Libertarian Party Radical Caucus, the original caucus of the Libertarian Party, and the some would call it the conscience of the Libertarian Party, decided to endorse yours truly for vice president, because saying that I'm the most principled and radical libertarian candidate they called me, quote, a real libertarian. And that, by the way, was written by none other than Mark Montoni. Anyone who knows Mark Montoni should probably put some serious weight into the fact that Mark Montoni referred to me as a real libertarian. I don't know that Mark Montoni has ever called anyone, including himself, a real... I'm sure he has. But anyway, so that was a big deal.
Outside of himself, I don't think the list is very long.
It's not a long list. So that was very... that was a big honor, and I was very happy to receive that. Now, I did tell you last week, of course, that I was in the Libertarian Party Mises Caucus VP Forum, not debate. It was a forum between me, Larry Sharp, and Ken Armstrong. And I also showed you that they had done a internal poll of members where they asked who won, and I beat Larry by I think 6 votes, something like that. It was a close race, but I did win their member poll. And then we found out earlier today that the Libertarian Party Mises Caucus Executive Committee voted unanimously to endorse me for vice president. Right there. So, I'm no longer just Spike Cohen VP candidate. I'm Spike Cohen Radical Caucus and Mises Caucus endorsed VP candidate. Which is a pretty big deal.
That's a pretty big deal. And if anybody out there isn't a member of the Libertarian Party, the fact that these two caucuses are in agreement says a lot.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
It says a lot. So, and for the same reason.
Right.
Because they both cited me being a principled, committed, radical libertarian. And the fact that these two groups agreed on that is unprecedented, actually. So, that happened. Oh! Breaking news. I'm going to be on Taxation is Theft Fest, otherwise known as Tit Fest, hosted by Dan Berman, this Saturday, the 16th, at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll be doing that. And we'll be talking about the disruptive politics, using the disruptive methods to get your political message out there, especially in these times when we rely on, social media and the internet to do our campaigning and our messaging. So I will be talking about that for about an hour. And if you are a delegate, you will more than likely be hearing directly from me or from one of my campaign surrogates who are heavy, including Matt right there, and including Matt Hicks. Matt Hicks right here, who will be out calling the delegates on my behalf. And if you wish to speak with me, they will certainly be able to arrange that as well. So I will be on the campaign trail because on March 22nd, the Libertarian Party is getting together, not this weekend, but next. What? May 22nd, getting together not this weekend, but next to choose the nominee. So we will see how that goes. And I will be working on a lot of appearances and interviews and all sorts of fun stuff in between now and then in order to very possibly secure the VP nomination. We will see how it goes. So yeah, so that's happening. Tomorrow, I have a guest who is 50-50 on whether they'll be able to do it. So if they're not able to do it, I'll probably end up just doing an AMA. I also will be doing all sorts of Zoom calls on various different platforms in order to get in front of as many delegates and functionaries for state parties as possible. And going to be very, very busy. And then be sure to tune in next week on Tuesday, which is the 19th, for a very special pre-convention episode of The Muddy Waters of Freedom, followed by an equally very special pre-convention episode of My Fellow Americans, right here on Muddy Waters Media. So Matt, if someone were to be on this internet thing here and were looking to find us, is that even possible? And if so, how?
It is possible. You could go to Facebook at facebook.com/muddiedwatersmedia. You can go to Twitter at muddied_waters. You can go to float, flote.app/muddiedwatersmedia. You can find us on Anchor for the sweet, buttery, soulful goodness of just our voices.
Buttery soul.
What's that?
Buttery soulful.
Buttery soulful. At anchor.fm/muddiedwaters. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/muddiedwatersmedia. You can find us on Instagram at Muddied Waters Media. And you can find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Muddied Waters Media. And you can find this and every other episode of Muddied Waters Media on, you guessed it, muddiedwatersmedia.com.
And of course, if you're looking for me, for my campaign stuff on the internet, you can go to spike2020.com is my website. You can find me on Twitter at Real Spike Cohen. You can find me on Facebook at literally Spike Cohen. You can actually type in the Facebook search bar the at symbol and literally Spike Cohen, and my page, Spike Cohen, your next VP, will come up. Or you can type facebook.com/literally Spike Cohen. So be sure to tune in, and we will see you tomorrow. And then the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that. Thank you again for tuning in. And where we're going,
we don't need roads.
WTF Raw says, "Shall we remix you?" Yes! Now you can. I could use all the help I get. Back then, you were cloud chasers chasing me trying to get rich. Now I need your help because nobody gives a shit about me no more. Yes, buy food and guns. Don't give me $5. Take your stimulus money and spend it on goods and guns. Get food and guns, get food and guns, buy food and guns. Food and guns, get food and guns, buy food and guns. The president told us to put bleach in our veins. Get food and guns, get food and guns, buy food and guns. I'm gonna feel like I got the virus because your stupid donations. You should have kept your money and used it on something important, Don't give it away to some fat internet streamer. Use your money to stay alive right now. The world's fucking crumbling. But thank you for the money. I promise you I will use it to buy food and fucking guns. Xbox has super chatted. So Xbox Series X got better exclusives to PS5. I don't know. Maybe. I gotta tell you what, I'm rooting for Xboxes. But it's a better option than a PlayStation, which is a $500 brick. $500 brick. PlayStation 5 is a $500 brick. $500 brick. $500 brick. PlayStation $500 you wasted. PlayStation 5 is an overheating, melting plastic piece of shit. PlayStation 5 forgot to make exclusives. I don't want a PlayStation 5. I want an Xbox. PlayStation 5 is overheating mess. COVID-19. So I stay home. And I don't want to die. I don't want to travel. Why does Boogie want to do that? Stay home. Stay home. I want to go back to work. We all do. I want to go back to the beach. We all do. Social distance, because the last thing I want to do is be around you.
Let me smell your breath, bitch. Did you drink it? Let me smell your breath, bitch. Did you drink it? Did you drink it? Did you drink it? Let me smell your breath. I'll admit it. I'm not letting my kids die. I'm somebody that thought I could fix this, and I'm starting to think about having to eat my neighbor. I'm gonna haul him up by a chain. I will eat your ass. I'll do it. You think I like sizing up my neighbor? Gonna chop his ass up. My children aren't going hungry. I will eat your ass. Eat your ass. I'm literally looking at my neighbors now and going, I will eat your ass. I will eat your ass. Eat your ass. My superpower is being honest. And I will eat your ass. I will eat your ass. will eat your ass. Eat your ass. I've extrapolated this out, and I will eat your ass.